Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now, this story has been going on since 2024, up to this point in 2026 as well, with multiple updates, some of which you may have heard before, so as always, timestamps are down in the description and along the timeline below, and it does have some trigger warnings on it of choking, mentions of attempted suicide, stalking as well. So if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Again, timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. This is from Throwaway 437893. And it says, my husband's open marriage suggestion backfired on him. My husband, Leo, 34 male, and I, 30 female, have been together for 7 years, married for 4 of them. We don't have any kids and we don't intend to. 2 years ago, Leo asked me for an open marriage. I was devastated at the time. I couldn't understand why he didn't just want me. I couldn't even comprehend the idea of sharing him either. He gave me the same song and dance a lot of men give their spouses, swore up and down that he loved me. I just wasn't fulfilling his needs. He needed more than what I could give. It was just to spice up our life. It was just sex, etc., etc. I did ask if there was someone else. He said no. To this day, I'm still not sure if I believed him. But at the time, I was angry and hurt and said no. He pestered me to change my mind for a week before giving me an ultimatum. Open marriage or divorce. I chose the open marriage. I just couldn't bear the thought of him leaving me at the time. We have rules. We can't bring any partners home. We have to get tested for STDs every 3 months. 1 weekend out of the month must be left for us time. Any money we spend on or with our partners must come from our personal accounts. I didn't partake in the open marriage myself for the first 3 months. Leo obviously did right away. He seemed to be gone or gone out late almost all the time. But he always acted so happy and loving towards me, while I felt like I was dying inside. It killed me to think he was sleeping with other women, and I felt so lonely and unattractive and not good enough. I told my sister Katie, 26 female, and a few close friends everything. Katie told me to just play his game and be a part of the open marriage too. If he can sleep around, so could I. I honestly didn't have much confidence in myself at the time. I'm a bit overweight and I've never considered myself conventionally pretty. I was afraid this would just humiliate me further. Katie and my best friend Jessie, 30 female, set up my online dating profiles for me. I got so many matches that it was overwhelming. When I told Leo, he was surprised but told me to do whatever I thought was best. Jessie helped me choose my first date and I actually had a great time. He didn't pressure me for sex and took me out to drinks and dinner. We did have sex eventually, but it was all just casual and we didn't see each other after a couple of months of casual dating. That first guy really made me feel more confident in myself, so I kept going on dates with men. A lot of them wanted to treat me, so I didn't have to spend much of my own money. Not only that, but some of the men have given me the best sex I've ever had in my life, almost like the kind of sex you read in romance novels. It's been amazing. I'm currently seeing 2 different men alongside Leo. One, Mark, 38 male, is more of a steady boyfriend I've been with for about 6 months. And the one, Steven, 25 male, is very casual, most just hanging out and sex. They know about my open marriage / other relationships and are fine with it. My husband has not been so lucky. In the beginning, he definitely was. He was always out and about and didn't seem to care even when I started dating too. But now he just complains a lot and hasn't been going out much. He whines about he's usually the one spending money. A lot of the women he tries to be with want emotional connection before sex. He often wants to be with younger women, but they want younger men. He's also been upset that I go out with random guys so often while he's at home alone all the time. He hasn't asked to close the marriage yet, but I feel like he will soon. He keeps saying he misses us and wants us to spend more time together. He tried to initiate sex a lot more too. He wants to go on dates and go on vacations and all that stuff more and more. And he gets upset when I tell him I can't because I already scheduled to do stuff with my partners, mostly Mark. Honestly, I don't think I love Leo anymore. I care about him, but I just don't love him. I'm not saying I love Mark or Steven, but I honestly feel closer to Mark nowadays than I do Leo. Mark makes me feel comfortable and safe, and I love spending time with him more than my own husband. Steven is funny and sweet and really good at sex. Katie and Jesse have been wanting me to divorce for a year now, but I was afraid of hurting him and thought I still loved him. But I think my love for him died when he asked for this open marriage in the first place. Seeing him get all pissy about it now just because he's not benefiting from it is also a turn off for me too. But I don't know if divorce is the best option. I still care about him and I still don't want to hurt him. Maybe if he finally asks to close the marriage, we can talk about it then. So it was a week after this one that OP came in with their update and said, "Hi everyone, I got so many comments and messages from my last post, which got deleted for some reason, that I was a bit overwhelmed, especially when a lot of you just kept saying the same thing, divorce, divorce, divorce. But the thing is, I think a part of me does still love my husband. I know in my last post that I didn't think I loved him anymore, but I can't just forget about the things that I do love. I love when he sings in the shower. I love when he laughs so hard he snorts. I love when he kisses my forehead when I've had a bad day. I love when he holds my hand when we watch TV together. Leo has done a lot of shitty things, but he really isn't the big arsehole people think. Maybe that was my fault. But even if I do still love him, I'm not in love with him anymore. I don't think I've been for a while. I care about him. A part of me does still love him. But you all were right. I should have just divorced him when he gave me that ultimatum in the first place. This past Saturday we had the big talk. I initiated it, but he didn't seem too surprised. I just told him that I noticed he didn't seem to like me going out with Mark or Steven and asked if there was a problem. He said there was, but he didn't ask me to close the marriage. He just asked me if I still loved him. I said something like, "Not like I used to." He broke down crying, which made me cry. I guess he had known for a while that I wasn't in love anymore, but he had hoped he could win me back if he funneled all of his energy into me. I was honest and told him that during those first 3 months of our open marriage, I think my love for him died and I just couldn't get it back. I did tell him that I still cared about him and that I did love him, but it's not the same as it was. He asked if I loved Mark or Steven, and I said no. I like being with them and I care about them a lot, but I can't say I'm in love with either of them. I also finally asked him why he wanted the open marriage in the first place. A lot of you in the comments said he already had someone lined up, and you were right. He had someone at work he was interested in, and she wanted him too. The open marriage was just to get permission. He honestly never expected me to get my own partners because of how unconfident I was. But he didn't want to stop me either because he thought nothing would come of it. He didn't really like me seeing other men, but he knew it wouldn't have been fair to tell me no when I gave him permission first. I guess Mark and Steven made him insecure because I was spending so much time with them on a regular basis. The open marriage was just sex on the side for him. He only did hookups and they never lasted long. He genuinely always just loved only me. But he thought I was falling in love with my partners and he was losing me and wanted to win me back. We cried a lot and talked a lot. We've decided to get a divorce. Since the house is in his name, I'm going to move out and live with Katie for a while. He told me I didn't have to and I could stay until the divorce was finalized, but I can't. It's too hard to even look at him sometimes. I don't know how I feel, to be honest. I thought I would be relieved or sad, but I'm just tired. I wish I could have been like you all wanted me to be, clapping back or being sarcastic and snarky or rubbing it in his face, but I don't feel like I've won anything. I just feel lost. So these first two posts made it to the best of Redditor update subreddit, and there's some more updates to come after this. But OP came into that post themselves and clarified some information about Leo's kinks, basically. And they said, "Hi, I'm the OP. I didn't think many people would care, but his kinks weren't all that extreme in hindsight. It was choking and anal. He had a big degradation kink. I did try all of them at one point for him, but I didn't like the anal, and he choked me a few times, but after the last time where I passed out, I said no more. As for the degradation, we did it one time and I ended up crying in the middle of it because it kind of triggered me. Thanks, Mum." So he stopped and never asked me to do it again. What the hell? How's choking not extreme? Anyway, OP comes in with another update which came 2 months later from the last one and said, "Hey, it's been a while. It feels like both a lot and nothing has happened. I still have a lot of feelings, but I'm also just really tired. Leo and I are in the middle of our divorce. It's been as amicable as a divorce can be. Since we mutually agreed to it and we had a prenup, it's been pretty easy splitting everything else 50-50. My lawyer says I should be divorced by the end of the year. Leo is insistent on giving me alimony, but I'm not really interested. Thanks to a lot of people making me think about Leo's explanation for the open marriage, I did approach him about it again and asked him to be 100% honest with me about that girl from work. He admitted there was a lot more to it than he admitted. This is what he explained to me, and I have decided to believe him. Even if he's lying, it doesn't really matter anymore since we're getting divorced. I also just have little energy to care about the details at this point. According to him, this is the timeline. He was posting on Reddit about his kinks for advice and such, which I did know about beforehand. He was getting messages from this one user, and they kept talking back and forth. He mentions my name to the user in a conversation, which he let me read. During his lunch break, his co-worker, I call her Mary, approaches him and asks if he uses Reddit and asks about his handle. He confirms and then Mary tells her she's the user he's been talking to. They start talking more and more in real life as friends and eventually start talking through Instagram. He also showed me these conversations. The conversations were mostly just memes and jokes with occasional flirts and mentioning of kinks. At one point she says it's too bad he's not single. This is when he decided to demand the open marriage, because Mary was clearly into him and into the same kinks and she could sexually satisfy him since I was unable to. That's how he basically said it anyway. Truth be told, we did have some bed difficulties before the open marriage was brought up. I'm very vanilla, and he discovered his kinks after we were married. I tried them all for him, but I just couldn't get into it, and he didn't like seeing me struggle, so he didn't try to bring them into the bedroom again after it was obvious I didn't like it. So we did have sexual compatibility issues. Maybe we were doomed to fail even without the open marriage ultimatum. Our families, outside of my sister, were shocked when we told everyone we were getting a divorce. They always thought we were so happy and in love. My mum blames me, which I expected, but it still hurts. They don't know about the open marriage, and Leo and I plan to keep it that way. I think he is ashamed to tell them. I am too, if I'm being honest. I really thought Leo was the love of my life. He was my first for almost everything. I said we were together for 7 years, but we were friends since college. I've known him for nearly 12 years, and we were about to become strangers soon. I still mourn my marriage, even though Katie and Jesse keep telling me this is for the best. They're both definitely thrilled. They don't hide it, but they also know this has been a weird time for me. I just don't know how to feel. I thought I'd feel free or relieved or heartbroken or something, but I just feel weird. Like I lost a part of myself and I don't know how to get it back. I'm still living with Katie, but I'll be moving out soon. I found a 1-bedroom apartment that's near Jesse, so I won't be completely alone. Mark offered to let me move in with him, but I declined. Honestly, we're kind of on standby. He knows I'm having a hard time processing my feelings about my husband and the end of my marriage, but I think he wants us to be official, but I don't know. I really do like Mark and I don't want to lose him, but I feel like I need to figure myself out first. As for Stephen, we ended our relationship at the beginning of August. He got a job offer in another state and took it. Even though it was casual, I did cry a little. Stephen is a great guy. Whenever he does decide to settle down into something serious, the woman who gets him will be a lucky one. We've been texting here and there, but it's mostly just sending each other TikToks and polite, hope you're doing well messages. Some people ask me if I wanted to go back to monogamy, even after experimenting and clearly getting into this poly relationship I had going on. And the answer is yes, I do. Even though Mark and Stephen were great and I met plenty of guys during my open marriage, I don't know if I've really been happy with myself or my choices. I also think I felt guilty a lot too, like I was somehow cheating on Leo, Mark and Stephen, even though it was all consensual. Polyamory and open relationships may work for some people, but it's really just not for me. Jesse says I need to get a therapist. I've tried looking, but finding a therapist that's both available and seems like a good fit is a pain. Hopefully I can find one by the time the divorce is settled. I also want to figure out what to do about Mark on my own. I don't want to lead him on and give him false hope. Maybe we should take a break, or maybe I should tell him to just break up with me. He should find his own happiness without worrying about me. So Opie comes in with another update which came 4.5 months later and said, "Hey everyone, hope you all had happy holidays and a good new year. This post is just sort of a rambling update. It was honestly thanks to you internet strangers on top of Katie and Jesse and my therapist that I'm doing much better than I had been last year. So I felt I owed you all a life update. Firstly, it's official. Leo and I are divorced. It was finalized earlier this week. To be honest, when I realized it was finally over, I cried, but it wasn't a sad, mourning cry like I'd been doing when I first posted to Reddit. It was mainly out of relief. Relief that it was over and relief that I could actually put everything all behind me. Some of you will be happy to know that I did take the alimony Leo offered. It's honestly not too much, but it helped me maintain some extra expenses. To be honest, I think he mainly offered to appease his guilt after everything that happened. Whatever his reasons are, they're not my concern anymore. I do have a therapist now. She's wonderful and is helping me work through a lot of untangled childhood trauma that ended up having an effect on my marriage. Honestly, if it wasn't for my mum, I don't think I would have ever agreed to the open marriage in the first place. A lot of people speculated that it was Leo that ruined my self-esteem, but it was always my mother. My therapist is helping me to come to understand that my mum is and probably will always be a toxic individual. I'm trying to work on my boundaries and slowly limiting my contact with her. It's hard, but I'm trying. As for Leo, my therapist advised me to close the door on him. He originally wanted us to be friends. Despite the progress I've made, he still has an effect on me. Many of his messages were him trying to persuade me to give him another chance, or him promising to be the husband I deserve. My therapist said I needed to be firm with my boundaries, and sometimes the best way to be firm is to draw a hard line. So I asked him not to contact me for a few months while I sorted myself out. So far, he's complied, for the most part. He still follows me on Instagram and we're still Facebook friends, but he never comments on any of my posts or messages me on my stories. Sometimes he'll like something, but that's the extent of our contact, which I can handle. I've also made sure to keep myself from checking up on him, per the advice of my therapist, because I don't want to obsess over him and the what ifs. Even after everything, I don't hate him. I thought I needed to because everyone else seemed to for what he did. My therapist explained that it's easier to hate someone you don't know than someone you do, because I have so many wonderful and cherished memories that I can't fully separate from the painful memories he left me with. So I don't hate him. I didn't even think him to be a bad person. He's selfish and self-centered and he hurt me a lot, but he can also be funny and sweet and attentive. And that was why I fell in love with him in the first place. I'm still seeing Mark. I tried telling him we should break up because of my weird headspace and I thought he deserved better. But he said he loved me and wanted to wait for me and promised to go at my pace for however long I needed. I want to believe him when he says that, and I love being with him, so I'm cautiously optimistic about it all working out. We still don't live together, and I kind of like it that way for now. I'm learning to become my own person again. Leo had been in my life for so long that I forgot what it was like to just be me and not me and Leo. I even got a dog, which I always wanted but never got one because Leo was allergic. His name is Iro, and thanks to him, I don't feel lonely. This will probably be my last update. I really just want to say thank you for all your kind words and support on all my posts. It really means a lot, so thank you and have a great new year. And our next update, again, is coming from the relationships advice subreddit. It came 12.5 months later, and this is where the mentions of attempted suicide start to come in. So I just wanted to let you know now, but now we're starting the next update. Again, it came 12.5 months later since the last update, and it said, my female 31 ex-husband, male 35, tried to commit suicide because of me. Now he wants to meet. How do I navigate this? I'll try to keep this short. My ex-husband Leo and I got divorced last year in January. He wanted an open marriage and I said yes because I was a doormat and a people pleaser. It all went downhill from there. I'd not had any contact with him since, although he attempted to reach out to me several times. Last month I found out he had been more or less stalking my social media nearly every day. He believed that because I hadn't blocked him on anything, it meant he still had a chance. I didn't want any misunderstanding, so I decided to block him. I didn't say anything or warn him and figured life would go on. It did not. His mother, 62 female, came to my place to scream at me and accuse me of driving him to suicide. She more or less said that blocking him drove him over the edge, and it would have been my fault if he died. It freaked me out so badly, and I was rattled nearly for 2 weeks. Leo had been placed on a 5150 and had gotten out of the ward a little while ago. I know this because I got a letter from him. He apologized for what his mother said and promised to pay for the damages. But then he asked if we could meet only a final time because he really wants to talk to me. Maybe I'm still a doormat and a people pleaser. Maybe it's because he was in my life for 12 years. Maybe it's because I still feel a little guilty, even though I know what he did isn't my fault. But a part of me wants to meet. The other part of me wants to pretend that I never saw the letter. I legitimately don't know what to do. I keep going back and forth. I did bring it up with my therapist once, and she just asked me if I genuinely believe there is any benefit to meeting. I don't think there is, but that doesn't erase the fact that a part of me still wants to meet. But what would I even say? What does he want to say? I'm also a little anxious about somehow turning back into that fully committed people pleaser again. Yet I also feel like there's a lot I want to say to him that I was too numb to say when we got divorced. I just don't know. I keep going back and forth, and my own indecision infuriates me. And we have another update in a moment, but for me at this moment in time, I would say absolutely not meeting. I think the therapist was right. Do you genuinely believe that there is any benefit to meeting? Like usually in a situation like this or similar, where someone wants to meet and you want some kind of closure or something, I would say, is totally down to your choice. But OP has come so far in this already, and it just kind of feels like at the moment, Leo, while I feel for the crisis he's clearly going through right now, but he's making his emotional needs OP's problem to solve. And OP talking about, people pleasing, doormat type of behavior. And, I never think it's that simple. There's so many gray areas in a relationship. OP's grieving, 12 years of history with this person that never really got a proper ending. So, she's just being human. But let's face it, having coffee with Leo isn't going to give you any of the closure that you're looking for, because that closure doesn't come from him. You've already been building that on your own for the past year. And part of me worries about OP's safety in this situation at the same time. And I don't know if that sounds shitty to say, but this guy's had a 5150 hold. He was stalking her social media for months. He still thinks that he had some kind of, way of getting back with OP. His mother showing up screaming at her. It just says to me, I don't think meeting up would be a good idea in this situation at all. But a commenter said to OP on this, correction, your ex-husband tried to commit suicide because of himself. It has nothing to do with you, except that you are his fixation. Don't interact with these people. Restraining orders are the way. There is no benefit to meeting. It's about emotional manipulation, whether purposeful or the nature of their personality. Life isn't a movie. There is no final time conclusion. There is moving on and living the rest of your life away from these people that bring nothing but pain to you. Another commenter says, don't. Now is the time to just fully block him and move on before his internet stalking becomes real stalking and he uses the suicide attempts to manipulate you back into his life. His mother coming to abuse you on top of it should be plenty of signs. With mentally unstable people, you have to give them nothing. No inch for them to stretch into a mile. Don't reply. Block everything. Give his family no space to add more stress to your life. Bloody hell, that comment hit deep. We have another update in a second, but that commenter saying, with unstable people, you have to give them nothing, no inch for them to stretch into a mile. And that's absolutely what's been happening in my life for like over a year now. Hence probably why you've noticed I've been quiet on socials. I can't go too much into it because, it's still ongoing. Maybe, hopefully one day I'll be able to tell you the full extent of it. But the comment just rang so true. And I swear this is what's happened here is the cause of my IBS. Obviously, I don't know that fully, but it all happened around this time. So OP came in with another update over 2 weeks later and said, hi again. I wasn't planning to update, but I got in quite a few messages with people genuinely concerned about my safety. I just wanted to reassure everyone that I'm perfectly safe and all is well, I promise. As for the update itself, it's nothing exciting, thankfully. I spoke to my therapist about what I wanted and what I should do. I even brought up concerns and warnings some of you shared with me. She didn't seem very impressed that I was getting worked up by the warnings of well-intended but uninformed strangers, is how she phrased it. Genuinely though, I do thank you for all your advice you gave, but ultimately, after speaking with my therapist, it just sort of dawned on me that I didn't necessarily want closure. I didn't even really want to see him. I just wanted to scream at him. I was, and still am, angry and frustrated and hurt. So I didn't meet him. If I did, I would probably just vent everything out in public and look like a crazy person. Instead, I wrote a letter. Handwritten, 3 pages, front and back, no lines skipped. I won't share the letter with you all, since there's a lot of super personal details I'm not comfortable with sharing with strangers. To summarize though, I explained in depth how much he hurt me during our marriage. I cursed him out, called him a few names and told him that this will be the last time he will ever hear from me. But I also told him that I hope he heals. A part of me still cares about him, or rather the good memories I have of him. He was in my life for over a decade, and I loved him for a long time. Despite everything, I wish him well and want him to be a better and happier person. We just don't need to be a part of each other's lives anymore. I dropped it off in his mailbox last Friday. I'm pretty sure he's read it. He Venmo'd me for the damages his mum caused and included a note and just said, "I'm sorry." Honestly, I think that's all the closure I need. I'm sure some of you are still going to tell me to be wary and that Leo is dangerous, but I really think I'll be okay. I obviously did some extra security for the house just to be safe, but Leo has never been a violent man. Short-sighted and selfish, sure, but not violent. As for his mother, she also Venmo'd me with a note that was just a Bible verse about forgiveness. I'm not sure if she's asking me to forgive her or telling me that she forgives me, but it really doesn't matter. She's blocked too, and I don't think I'll be hearing from them anytime soon, which is exactly what I want. Anyway, thanks again for all your advice and your concern. It means a lot. A commenter says, so your therapist doesn't find his behavior threatening? Like, yeah, take strangers on the internet with a grain of salt generally speaking, but the responses I saw on your other post were very logical and based in reality. Hope he says we've already discussed his behavior at length, both now and when I first started seeing her last year. I don't want to have to defend Leo, but he is genuinely not a violent person. He's never abused me in any way. That's not to say he hasn't hurt me with his selfishness and insensitivity, but I have not been abused by him. Even during our worst arguments when we were a couple, he never exhibited violent behaviors or tendencies. I have never once been afraid of him. The most threatening behavior came from his mother. His mother was the one who chose violence. If anything, I'm more afraid of her than anyone. Even when he attempted suicide, Leo never tried to get in contact with me and threaten me with his life. That was a choice he made, but he didn't do it to threaten me. We've been divorced for over a year now, and I've already made it clear during the divorce process that there will not be any chance at reconciliation. I know P does know Leo best and what he's like, but the only response I would kind of have to that, and again, it's only from reading these posts, you can't blame people for being concerned about his behavior, is that OP talks about he's never exhibited violent behaviors or tendencies, but I'm sure he hasn't exhibited most of the behaviors you've seen in this post. They must be all newish behaviors, right? But another commenter says, I'm proud of you. And just so you know, any decision he makes with regard to taking his own life is never ever your fault. OP says, thank you. I knew that when it happened, but there was still some lingering guilt. However, I've been able to fully accept that this was his own choice and I'm not responsible. Commenter says, a therapist who thinks that people concerned you would meet up with your stalker are uninformed is someone that has no business being a therapist. If any therapist would be especially concerned in trying to encourage you to take precautions to protect your safety. My partner has been a therapist for decades and would never say what yours did. Opie says I'm more concerned with his mother than him because she is the one who attacked my home. Leo did not. I would also not call him a stalker because he happened to continue following me on social media when I never blocked him until before he attempted suicide. I wouldn't have even known about his suicide attempt if it weren't for his mother. She did encourage me to take precautions, which I have taken. I'm sorry if I gave off the impression that my therapist or I are nonchalant about the matter. Commenter says, I think more people should go back to writing letters. They're a good form of closure. You've got to express all your feelings without being interrupted with excuses or gaslighting or yelling or being disappointed in the reaction. Blocking and moving on is the right call, and hopefully you both heal and move forward. Opie says I honestly found it very liberating when it was all said and done. I did write a couple of rough drafts before finally settling on the one I sent him. Commenter says, has he ever tried committing suicide before? Obviously, it's good that he hasn't been physically abusive in the past, but don't assume that just because his past behavior was safe, he's still safe. He's obviously not safe to himself, but what that should really tell you is that he's in an emotionally turbulent state of mind and is not necessarily acting in accordance with rational thought. What people keep trying to explain, without actually drilling down to the core of it, is that his behavior change is significant enough that you cannot rely on your past experience to tell you what he is currently like. Opie says he has, when he was a teenager. He has MDD, major depressive disorder, since he hit puberty. Runs in the family, I think. He's had prior episodes before when we were still together, but never to the point of suicide. And I suppose you're right. I guess I didn't fully consider that. Maybe because I've known him even during his behavior changes whenever his depression would consume him. And that last commenter said it far better than I could, about his past behavior. Can't fully predict his current behavior, especially when someone's in an active mental health crisis. And I'm glad that Opie, said, I guess I didn't fully consider that. And I think sending the letter was the best move in the situation. You got to say everything you needed to say without giving the chance to, turn it around, twist it, whatever. And you finally got to let go of some of your anger in that as well. And some of the previous lines from previous updates, Opie finding herself before moving on, all pretty healthy, I thought. Opie sounds like Mark's waiting for her when she's ready, so that was nice. And dog too, of course. And hopefully Opie just gets to move on with a drama-free life from now on. Bloody hell, what an absolute journey. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay.